I've been using the Galaxy Note 10 Plus for 3 weeks now, and I've got to hand it to Samsung. They've really stepped up their game in every aspect. This phone has a lot going for it, but there's another flagship from this year that I also really enjoyed using, and I even found it to be the best phone of 2019. That's the OnePlus 7 Pro, so let's compare the two and see which is the better option for you. Now, both of these flagships have the latest and greatest specs you'd want in a phone released this year. The 7 Pro has a few extra features that the Note 10 doesn't have, but the Note 10 also has its advantages, so on paper both phones seem amazing. And they are. Just looking at both phones screams premium. They both have 3 rear cameras all in a line. The 7 Pro just has them down the middle, while the Note 10 puts them off to the side. They both have small camera bumps, the logos are in the center, and none of them have a headphone jack, unfortunately. When it comes to exclusive features, the 7 Pro includes an alert slider to quickly switch ringer modes, while the Note 10 includes its famous pen at the bottom. But I still have to give it to Samsung. The Aura Glow on the back of the Note 10 Plus is more of a head turner than the plainer colors of the OnePlus 7 Pro. If you watched any Note 10 Plus videos, you'll know that you can see every color in the rainbow on the back. It's really just a colorful reflective glass mirror, and trust me, it looks a lot better on camera than it does in person. The OnePlus 7 provides a more subtle look with its blue theme, though it also changes a little under different types of lighting. I do think it's a lot more comfortable to hold since it has bigger curves on both the back and front, and it has a better button placement, making it easier to handle with just one hand. To me, the Note 10 just feels a bit off with the button placement. The lock button is on the left side instead of the right, unlike most other phones including the Galaxy S10 and its predecessor, the Note 9, which had the Bixby key on the left side and the lock button on the right. So it takes time to get used to if you've owned any of those devices, plus taking a screenshot with the side buttons feels a bit awkward. I do want to mention that both of these phones are fingerprint magnets on the back. The Note 10 gets a lot dirtier, even more easily since you're basically touching a colorful glass mirror. The OnePlus 7 Pro also has a glass back, but it's not as bad. It just gets filled with smudges if your fingers get oily. That's why I decided to pick up some skins from Dbrand to cover them up. Plus, with these massive frames, the skins provide a ton of grip, so you're less prone to dropping your phone. I'm currently rocking the Black Dragon skin on the OnePlus and the White Marble on the Note 10. They still make the phone look marvelous, but if you don't like these types of skins, then don't worry because they have plenty of materials to choose from for many different devices. So if you're interested, I'll drop a link in the description to check it out. So when it comes to the design, the Galaxy Note 10 Plus looks a lot more premium and beautiful, but I do think the OnePlus 7 Pro is a lot more comfortable to hold. One of the biggest changes within the phone is the display. They're both bezel-less, Quad HD, and AMOLED, but the Note 10 Plus has a pinhole camera cutout, while the 7 Pro hides its selfie shooter inside the phone and pops out only when you need it, providing more screen real estate and a bit less distraction up in the status bar. Plus, if you're paranoid about security, the pop-up selfie is a huge plus since hackers won't be able to see you while it's physically hidden. You know exactly when the camera is in use. The Note 10 Plus still has a slightly bigger display at 6.8 inches, the OnePlus 7 Pro is 6.67 inches, and it's slightly brighter at max settings, which is a better option for hot sunny days. But even though the Note 10 Plus has a better looking display, I would still choose the OnePlus 7 Pro instead, thanks to its 90Hz panel. Once you switch to 90Hz, going back to 60 is such a pain because the phone just seems a lot slower and way less smooth. It really is that big of a deal, trust me. I do feel like 90Hz is now a must on every flagship device released in 2019 and forth. And because of the 90Hz panel, even though both phones have the same Snapdragon 855 chipset and up to 12GB of RAM, the OnePlus just feels a lot faster. Scrolling through social feeds, navigating your launcher, animations and transitions, or doing any other basic task feels a lot smoother on this phone. Don't get me wrong, the Note 10 Plus is still extremely fast. In fact, it's just as fast as the OnePlus 7 Pro in terms of opening applications, snapping a picture, or even playing a heavy graphic game. It's just not quite as fluid. Plus, the 7 Pro still manages to unlock slightly faster with both the under-display fingerprint sensor and face unlock, which is not expected considering that the selfie camera has to pop out to look at your face. Somehow in the slight second that the lens peeps through, it unlocks immediately. Sometimes it'll even unlock without the camera being fully extended. It's just one of those things. It is kind of annoying though that the motor that slides the camera upwards is pretty loud. You can even hear it in the videos when you switch back and forth between the front and back cameras. As for the software, this really comes down to personal preference. The Note 10 is of course running One UI, while the OnePlus 7 Pro has Oxygen OS, both layered on top of Android 9 Pie. The Note 10 Plus is the complete package in terms of extra software features. You can do so much within this interface. It's got native support for Google's digital well-being. The OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't have that yet, but it'll probably get it when Android 10 comes around. It's got its own theme store to customize the look of the entire UI. It's got the classic Edge Panels feature to bring up anything you'd like from any screen. Secure Folder is still there to make any file or app private. Edge Lighting provides a neat animation whenever you receive a notification, which you can change the color to match any app. You can customize the hardware side key to open whatever app you like with a double press. Plus, you can disable Bixby when long pressing on the key to open the power menu instead. If you download GoodLock from the Galaxy Store, you can even customize every little detail of the phone, including the lock screen, always on display, recents menu, and more. And the list goes on. You can even use a third-party app like Hex Installer or Synergy to change the entire look of the UI. Synergy even lets you use Substratum themes for even more drastic customization. Plus, with the addition of the S Pen, of course you can do a lot more on top of all that. I don't want to go through every little feature, but some of my favorites include AR Doodle to draw things on my face and follow my head movements. The pen now has a gyroscope so you can make gestures to control the camera. Things like switching between camera modes, flipping between the front and back camera, zooming in or out, and more. This is great for taking group selfies. Screen Write is still amazing since it takes a screenshot and lets me draw over any screen or a picture. I can translate anything on my screen easily by hovering the pen over any text. And when writing down notes, I can now convert my drawings into actual text. But let's be honest here, the majority of people will probably never use half the features that One UI provides. Not because they're useless, I mean most of them aren't, but because there's just so much going on within Samsung software, a lot of it is hidden deep inside the weaves of the settings and various menus. Oxygen OS is a lot simpler. It's got the familiar stock Android look, but with a few additions by OnePlus, and they're not that hidden. Most of the big features such as gaming mode, parallel apps, app locker, etc. are all found within a menu in the settings called Utilities, and though there are a few other features, they're appropriately placed in obvious menus. Surprisingly, there's even a few features that Oxygen OS has that the Note 10 doesn't have, including screen off gestures to do certain tasks even when the phone is locked, such as controlling your music, turning on the flashlight, opening any app shortcut, and more. Oxygen OS navigation gestures is a lot more intuitive than Samsung's gestures. Gaming mode on the 7 Pro is much more potent than Game Launcher on the Note 10. You can lock any app with a passcode or biometric method using App Locker. I can use Zen mode to lock myself out of my phone for a set amount of time to avoid distractions. On top of that, OnePlus does a great job at providing frequent software updates, especially with their open beta program. This is something that Samsung always falls short on. When comparing the rear cameras on the back, they both have the same type of modules, a main camera, a wide lens, and a telephoto. It's beautiful. This is the type of combination that I want when taking pictures because no matter the scene, the camera has the flexibility to capture it. The Note 10 does have a wider lens, but the OnePlus 7 Pro does have a deeper zoom with the telephoto. As usual, both cameras do really well in good lighting. They both provide vivid colors and very good detail. The color reproduction is on point. The Note 10 does tend to over sharpen a bit, but in some scenarios that artificial sharpness can make the picture look a lot better, especially when there's a ton of small details within a picture. A small issue that I did find with both primary cameras is that they do sometimes overexpose. It's really a hit or miss situation, but night performance on both phones is not that great. I would even say the Note 10 is a bit worse. When trying to take a picture on the Note 10 of a person or a slowly moving object, most of the time it'll come out looking blurry even if I have an extremely steady hand. On the occasion that I do manage to take a non-blurry picture, they come out looking great, well detailed, not too much grain, and well exposed. The OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't have that much of a blur issue, but it's still a hit or miss situation at night. Sometimes the pictures look well detailed and bright, but other times it looks a bit too grainy and muddy. When it does decide to perform well, it'll even outshine the Pixel 3 in some scenes, let alone the Note 10 Plus. When it comes to the camera features, the Note 10 Plus takes the cake. The coolest feature within this camera is live focus video. So you know how in portrait mode you can blur out the background of a picture while still keeping your main object in focus? Well, this is the same concept, but it's in video form now. So you can literally shoot a video of your face or body and the entire background can be blurred out of focus, turned to black and white, have the background lights turn into big circles, or even have it glitch out. On top of that, you can still use Bixby Vision to scan objects, food, QR codes, and it will get the information that you need to know. I've also noticed that AR emoji has gotten a lot better in replicating your looks in cartoon form. Don't get me wrong, it still looks weird and the face recognition isn't as good as the iPhones, but it's a step in the right direction. And they have a new app called 3D Scanner, which lets you scan an entire object like a teddy bear or stuffed animal, and you can have it come to life. It follows your every move on camera. To me, it's a gimmick, but it works, I guess. In the end, the main rear sensor on the OnePlus 7 Pro compares well with the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. I do think the ultra-wide works a lot better though, on the Note 10, but the telephoto is still a win on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Both produce similar results in the right lighting, but don't always do that well in poor lighting situations. I'd still choose the camera on the Note 10 Plus over the one found on the OnePlus 7 Pro just because it provides a lot more camera features. Now let's talk about battery life. Both devices have plenty of capacity. The Note 10 Plus has 4,300 milliamp hours, while the OnePlus 7 Pro has 4,000, so it's a bit smaller. As you might expect, I've been seeing better battery results on the Note 10 Plus, but that's probably also due to the device not having a 90Hz display. It usually lasts between 6 to 7 hours of screen on time. On the OnePlus 7 Pro, it usually gets around 5 to 6 hours. So both devices will easily last an entire day, but you'll have a bit more juice left at night with the Note 10 Plus. And for the record, I do consider myself to be a heavy user. I usually have the brightness set to near max, constant Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, and I watch a lot of YouTube and scroll through my social feeds constantly. Believe it or not, the Note 10 Plus charges faster than the OnePlus 7 Pro with its new 45-watt fast charging brick. Warp charge on the OnePlus 7 is only 30 watts, which is less, even if it's still pretty fast. The only thing is that Samsung is selling the 45-watt brick separately, so you'll need to pay an extra $50 if you want that new charger. Luckily, there's still a slower, fast charger in the Samsung box. Lastly, since they are important, I did want to mention a few extra features that the Note 10 Plus has and the OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't have. This includes water resistance with an IP68 rating, expandable storage up to 1 terabyte. It has bigger options for internal storage up to 512 gigabytes. The OnePlus 7 Pro only goes up to 256 gigabytes, though that's still a lot. Alright, let's be honest, that's still a lot. The screen on the Note 10 is encased in Gorilla Glass 6, while the 7 Pro just has Gorilla Glass 5. The Note 10 has fast wireless charging, while the OnePlus doesn't have any wireless charging. The Note 10 supports all 4 major US carriers, while OnePlus doesn't support any of Sprint's network. So you can definitely see all the advantages that you get with the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, but with those premium features comes a premium price tag, so if you choose to purchase the Note 10 Plus, you'll be dropping a minimum of $1,100. That's a ton of cash. The OnePlus 7 Pro is a lot cheaper at a starting price of $670, and that alone is a $430 difference. So is the Note 10 Plus worth that extra $400? Personally, I do think it is, but I'd still choose the OnePlus 7 Pro over it. Sure, the Note has a better looking design, a slightly better looking, if less smooth display, a lot more software features, water resistance, expandable storage, slightly better battery life, faster charging speeds, and an S Pen, but almost every one of those things is only slightly better than what you get with the OnePlus 7 Pro. On top of that, this OnePlus still has its advantages. It's got a 90Hz display, which really makes a difference, feeling so much faster and more fluid than the Note 10. In day-to-day use, it unlocks faster with both biometrics and recognizes your fingerprint better with the fingerprint sensor. OnePlus also provides faster software updates, and every other test, including the camera, battery life, charging speed, software experience, which is debatable, and the design are only slightly behind the Galaxy Note 10. As I see it, if you want the complete package, then get the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. It's got everything you could possibly want in a smartphone, including a pen. But if you'd rather save a few $100, then you'll still find the OnePlus 7 Pro to be a stellar flagship, at least I did. And honestly, when I use the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, I don't miss out on much, just the 90Hz display. And when I use the OnePlus 7 Pro, I only miss out on the Note 10's water resistance. When you come down to it, both devices are neck and neck in the 2019 flagship race, so you'll have an amazing experience in whatever phone you choose. It depends on how much money you're willing to drop to obtain a slightly better experience. Either way, that's my comparison of the Galaxy Note 10 Plus and the OnePlus 7 Pro. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a huge thumbs up. Get subscribed with the notification bell turned on so you don't miss out on any future comparisons or reviews. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.